this is Stampy, and welcome to a behind-the-scenes video of one of my Stampy shorts. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but it's the one with the little stop-motion Pumpkin Man one. So at the moment, I know what the film's going to be, and all I've done so far is work on the map. Like anytime I'm traveling, I just use my Vita, and I'm just building basically the set. And this one has got like a kind of crazy world. So I basically I wanted it to be like a black and white world. And so I basically had to try and build all the terrain, but just using different like color gray wool and white and black wool. And so I thought the easiest way to do it is to create a super flat and then blow it all up with TNT to try and destroy it. So this is kind of what it's like so far. So this is like the map. You can see it's pretty much an entire Vita world, and I've spent probably like the last 10 hours that I've been like traveling, just blowing up the land. And then there's some certain areas where I've needed to flatten it out because that's where the characters are going to be and stuff. So yeah, like I know that there are ways that I could have done it on PC to make it easier or got like a build team, but like I've spent a lot of like the time in the last few days on trains and planes and stuff. So I've just been listening to podcasts and just blowing up the world. So that's kind of the setup. This is quite an interesting one because it's a stop motion one rather than, you know, kind of walking around with characters. It's quite different to my other Stampy shorts. So I am going to go and show you a little bit about how I did that if you're interested.
Right, I've now loaded the map onto the PlayStation 4. So the clip you saw before was when I just traveled to Sweden and I'd built a big part of the map on the plane there. I'd also been traveling around the UK a lot on train, so I built a lot, and then I carried on building the terrain on the way back. So we're probably looking at about 20 hours of work right now, and it's so good because I love playing on the PlayStation Vita because it's portable. I can play it wherever I want. It controls fine. You know, it looks okay. I mean, obviously the screen's small and stuff, but once I load it to PS4 and I can see what it actually looks like, I'm like, whoa, this looks pretty awesome. So this is the set, I guess, for the film. So I've pretty much filled in an entire console, well, last generation console sized world. You can see there's a little bit of like white around the outside. That's basically, if I just fly over there, that's basically the area I haven't destroyed, but it doesn't really matter going right up against the edge because if I was here, you could see like the outside anyway, so it doesn't really make a big difference. I know it would be nice to say I filled in the entire world, but for the film, it doesn't matter, and I want to save as much time as I can getting this prepared. So I haven't completely finished with the terrain yet. What I need to do is fly around and especially anywhere near where the actual majority of the film is going to be. So I need to destroy any little bits of flying blocks because I made the terrain by blowing up the ground. There's a lot of like one-off flying blocks all over the place. So I need to go around and destroy all of them because it looks weird having things flying. So that's going to probably take about another, I don't know, probably about another 2 or 3 hours to do that probably, and to make sure I don't miss any. But let me talk about the idea in terms of the set for now then. So the plan is to have the school here. Then the runway, that I'm assuming you've seen the film, by the way, the runway will be kind of down here. And then you can see that there's a bigger pit down there compared to the rest of the terrain. That's because I like the idea of it being like, oh no, the plane's going to go and like slide and crash and it needs to be saved. So that's the reason there's a big pit there. And it kind of extends all the way over here as well. And just to add some variety in the terrain as well. Then, yeah, over here, this is going to be the main town. This is where kind of the boring houses are going to be. The black and white houses that everyone else is going to live in. They're all going to be here. And then I kind of made a little ravine going down here. And then this is where the main character's house is going to be. And there's two reasons for this. One, I want to show how isolated this main character is. So that's why they're, you know, having an actual ravine they have to go down really separates them from the rest of the town. Like, I could have just had them on the outskirts of the town, but I think having to go through that like kind of horrible alleyway just kind of shows off how separated he is. And also it means that in this area here, I can completely cover it full of color, and this is going to be such a standout area because this is going to be full of color and everywhere else looks like this. So that's the reason for that. So things can always change. Like, I know what the story is, but I haven't fully written a script yet. Like, I know everything that's going to happen, but I haven't done what's called like a shooting script where you work out specifically what the shots are. I might even do a storyboard, which I don't normally do for these films, but I think it's such a visual film and there's going to be be no dialogue, I think a storyboard would actually be really useful, especially as each shot is going to take so long because it's stop motion. Like, I don't want to ever change my mind at any point. So that's probably what's going to be the next step now, and I'm probably going to do that before I actually build in any of the structures. So yeah, once I've fully scripted it and started doing the structures, I'll check back in with you and show you the progress I have made. Okay, I've been busy building. I've also written the script. It's much more of a shot list. It's basically really working out exactly what is going to happen. Like, I know what the story is, but it's more the way the story's told, I guess. So I've kind of worked all of that out, and it's really important to do that before building the set, because I can build it really specifically for, not only what I want to happen in the story, but, what shots I want to have happen. But right then, anyway, enough of that. Here is the set as it is right now. So this is me inside of the school. I'm inside of the classroom where some of the action's going to take place. And I'm really trying to make sure that the world is only built out of these four different colors. We got white, we got the dark gray, we got the light gray, and then we got the black. And that's kind of what everything's built out of. So the blackboard works well. These are the tables. I don't really have chairs, but everyone kind of just stand around here. And one of the big problems I realized is that it was so dark in here, and I couldn't put torches on the walls. I didn't like the look of it, or glowstone. So basically underneath the carpet, there's just basically loads of glowstone underneath there. So that's the way it's lit up. And I kind of built out the rest of the school as well. Like there are other classrooms, and this is only in case you kind of see it from the outside, because there's a whole load of windows. You can get a bit of a glimpse of the outside there. That's just basically, so I don't need to worry about, not showing the insides of any of those places. Like, you can go look in and see the classrooms there. But right then, this is the school as it looks. It's weird because as I'm building all of these things, I'm trying to not make it look interesting. The whole idea is that, like, everything's really boring. Everything's dull. It's black and white. And so when building the school and then the town as well down here, I had to be really careful not to build anything interesting. So as you can see, most of the buildings are kind of just like these big blocks, and there's really nothing in them, and the windows are just holes. And I guess this is the only one which is slightly interesting, but then again, not particularly. So I really need the main character's house to really stand out. So you can kind of see these are all of the buildings here. That's the way I decided to do the path. Like, I need to sort out this area a little bit. It's all looking a little bit flat and kind of unrealistic. So I'm going to kind of add a little bit of this just to make this look more of a natural hill that would kind of fit in with the rest of the area. Apart from that, that's pretty much the set done. I've also pretty much filled in right to the very edge. Like, there's slight gaps around the edge, but there's no point destroying that because there's no way that's ever going to be seen. So I've done all of that. I've also gone and flown around and really tried to make sure that there's no flying blocks. Like, I know I must have missed some. Like, there's no way I've got every single one, but if you look around, there we go. There's hardly any of these, basically blocks flying in the air. I'll probably do a few more fly-throughs of everything just to make sure I haven't missed any, but I've got at least most of the ones that are very close to where we're filming. I think I've got rid of most of them. Of course, as I say that, I suddenly spot absolutely loads of them all over the place. So yeah, maybe I need to fly over a few more times. The big thing that I haven't done is I haven't finished the main character's house, and I've tried a few times. I tried building a hill and building on that. I didn't like that, and I've had a few attempts, but I've not been happy with the design of the house, and I've spent so much time trying to do it. I kind of decided that I need a new strategy. So these are the colors that the house are going to be made out of, and these are basically the colors that the main character is going to leave as a trail. And even just having those colors down there, I think you're going to get a good idea of just how much that house is going to stand out, where the entire landscape is kind of just like this, and then there's going to be just this splash of color down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up a super flat world with just a white floor, and then I can just kind of build a bunch of houses in a row, and then I can really compare them and kind of do different versions without having to kind of continually keep building something, then destroying it, then building it, then like destroying it. It'll be much quicker just to load up a separate world and kind of work out exactly what it's going to be and then build it here. So yeah, that's what the next step is going to be. So I've been doing a little bit of testing out. I loaded up a new world just so I could start working out different designs for the house and not have to keep destroying it again and again and again by doing it in the same world. And this is what I came up with. So you can see I kind of worked out the color scheme, and I was playing around with really wacky houses like this, but I don't know, they just look, I don't know, it just looks bad, doesn't it? It just looks bad. And then I had the idea of doing like stripes, and I kind of like the idea of this. And then I was like, well, what if it was more of like a circle? But then, I don't know, I didn't really like that. And in the end, I went for a very simple design in terms of it's, it's a big block and then it kind of just slopes up to a point. But then I did like these diagonal striped lines and it looks really good. And then I tested it out, alongside the front here, as if like this is what the ground's going to look like once he's gone in and out a million times. And hello, little crocodile. I'll speak about the little crocodile in there in a minute. So yeah, that's the house design done. And I then went and switched around to some of the different character design. So the whole time, it was going to be a pumpkin with I was going to have a button nose, and then everyone else was going to be kind of like this and a little bit more bland and human. In the end, I've decided to not have a pumpkin. You can see I kind of gradually switched away from a pumpkin, and I was trying all of these different styles of heads. And in the end, I've decided that this is what my man's going to look like. And there's two main reasons why he's no longer a pumpkin. Like the whole idea from the beginning is it's like a little pumpkin boy. Like my working title was pumpkin boy. But the reason it's not going to be a pumpkin is, as I said, two reasons. So reason number one is if it was a pumpkin, let me just go and grab a pumpkin to demonstrate. So yeah, if it was a pumpkin and I wanted to make it turn its head, I mean, this is a jack-o'-lantern, but it demonstrates. It's either going to be looking this way. Is it going to break? That way or this way, Like it can only turn on a right angle, it can only turn 90 degrees, which means I couldn't make it move diagonally. Like if I wanted it to shake its head, it'd have to go boom, like boom, boom, and it would just look awful. So this head, it can kind of turn much more gradually. So you can look forward, it can look slightly to the side, slightly this way. You can there's really quite a lot of different ways you can make it turn. I think probably about 16 different angles you can have it turn. So if I want it to say no, I can kind of just do a much more subtle no by going like slightly this side and then slightly this side and stuff. So it just means that I have a lot more movement to animate. So that in combination with the body movement, jumping, and then the arms, it means I can just make the character much more expressive. So that's one of the reasons. And another reason is a more a story-based reason is because like I don't want it to be like as if this is a film about race. Like it's not, the idea of the film isn't this person's left out because, they look different. It's not like, we're all kind of these, human-y looking people or the same size head and then you're this pumpkin thing. Like, because if I do it about like that, I think there's going to some people that are going to think that the message behind it is something to do with race, but it isn't. The message behind it is about, being different. And, about how your differences, might separate you, but that's not bad. Like, basically, the message is, everyone's different, but like, that's fine. That's kind of what the message is. Not necessarily tied down, specifically to do with anything to do with race. It's more, I guess, about personality and, even abilities, I guess, particularly in this case, seen as, he's the person who's spreading like a trail of color behind him. So, yeah, they're the two reasons I changed it from being a pumpkin. So, yeah, this is the final design. And I think the other people are going to end up something like this. I didn't want them to have any color. So they're all going to be like grey and white and stuff, and I think they're all just going to have the same human heads like this, or possibly they could have the skeleton and wither heads, just because once again then they're going to have absolutely no color in them, which is kind of the idea. And then yeah, the crocodile in the house, the elephant in the room, the crocodile in the room. So this is my animator. Say hello, animator. Hello, I'm the animator. Hello, nice to meet you. So what this is basically me controlling a character on a different PlayStation. So of course, because I'm going to be animating, I'm going to be staying still. So I'm going to be kind of staying at like an angle like this. Let's kind of pretend I'm doing it now, shall we? If I turn this off, I'll be, say, standing here like this. And then if I want the character to move, I basically need someone else to move it, because I need to stay exactly still from now on. So this character is going to be kind of coming down here, building the character, then going to fly away so I can get a screenshot, and then building it again here, destroying that one, and then doing that, and then doing this. And so you can see how long it's going to take, especially as at the moment I'm only just doing a single block rather than building the entire character. And then bear in mind, I'm going to be doing like, I don't know, probably up to about 20 or 30 characters on screen at the same time in some scenes. So yeah, that's the way the animation process is going to work. So I want to see how it looks. So I'm going to do a test a test go in this world, just animating kind of like the way I am, just to see what it looks, how jerky it looks, and kind of what the style is. And rather than just going straight into doing the film, I can see just what it looks like, and that might kind of change some of the decisions I make or some of the angles I have. Of course, if I'm doing a high angle like this, the character can't look up, so I need to bear things like that in mind as well. So I'm going to do that now. The other thing I just wanted to mention is I had to buy another PlayStation 4. The reason I had to buy another PlayStation 4 is I didn't have another one. So I needed another PlayStation to control this character. So just for this film, I've had to set up another PlayStation 4. And then I didn't really have room for it, and I didn't have room for all the cables. So I've actually bought like a wireless HDMI cable. So I'm controlling this character wirelessly. There's no like HDMI cables coming from the PlayStation 4. And I know it's not really relevant to the film, but it works really, really well. And, you know, the quality can kind of drop every now and then because it's wireless. It never cuts out, but like sometimes you can see it's not perfect. But it doesn't matter because I'm never going to be recording from this view anyway. All they need to do is be able to build, and they can do that just fine. So, right then, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go and do a little test to go just like that, and yeah, see how it looks. This is going to be my first time animating. I have now finished building pretty much everything inside of this world. You can see this is the school finished, and these are all of the school pupils. So I ended up deciding to make it so that there's only 2 types of people other than the main character. And so these are the children. They're these colors, and then the adults, if I find they're the teacher, all look like this. And the reason they're all in this style is I wanted them all to have no color. I wanted everything to have no color apart from the main character and the trail that he leaves behind. So this is the way I can make the difference between the children and the adults. I mean, I know they're the same height and stuff. I think the adults would have looked too weird if they were really tall or something. So yeah, this is just the way I'm doing it. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them, which wasn't too bad building them, but when I got everyone moving at the same time, I really haven't made things easy for myself, but I think it's going to look impressive. I think it's going to look pretty cool. Like, imagine everyone just kind of running into the school and stuff, and there's only going to be a few shots where there's a big crowd where everyone's moving. Like, there might be shots where there's a crowd, but mainly it'll just be like one of their heads turning every now and then, just basically making them look alive. So I added some adults around the town as well, and these are just going to be standing around the place. And oh, this one's important. So this character is going to be the one that is cleaning up the trail behind the lead character. Like, one of the things I was thinking about is if the character's leading a trail of color, I don't want it to be as if that color then disappears. I like the idea of there like being one grumpy old man who's going around behind him and cleaning it all up and like really moaning. So that's what this character is going to be. You can see that most of them I think have quartz bodies and like pure white, and this one's like it's a bone body he has, and it's a bit yellowy and horrible looking. So he's the grumpy old man, but even he is going to be converted by the end. And over here we can see just how much color there is. Like, look how much it stands out. Like, if I fly up into the sky like this, you can see how much just that area stands out, which is exactly what I was after. So this is the design I ended up going for the house. You can see the trail leading all the way down here. Like, the idea is that, like, this is the point where he cleans to, and he doesn't care about down there. That's only where this guy lives. So, yeah, that's the set pretty much built. So, the shooting script's done as well. So, the only other thing I need to do now is to start making this thing. I've kind of realized just how long of a project this has been. Like, already it's been months and months and months. And it's not like I've spent months working on this thing. It's just that, like, just doing all of my normal videos and traveling and everything else has been taking up so much time. I've kind of just been jumping into this every now and then, but I'm getting to the exciting part. I'm getting to the part where I can actually start making this film now. So yeah, I'm going to be filming more behind the scenes throughout that entire process. So yeah, you'll be able to kind of keep in touch and find out exactly how the animating is going to take place. I've now done a good chunk of the editing. I'm basically doing it the way I said about in the test animation, where I build the character, I rebuild him one block forward, and then I destroy the old version, and then I also move the heads and leave the trail of color. And if I'm just animating one character moving forward, like this, it's very simple. It doesn't take a huge amount of time to kind of get from one side of the screen to the other, and I only really need to focus on one thing. A lot of the time there are other characters in the background, and I always try and make those characters look alive by moving slightly, whether it's turning their hair head or moving their arms, kind of as if they're all having some sort of conversation or something. But yeah, scenes like this are pretty simple. But when we get to a scene like this, where it's in the schoolyard and then there's 30 characters on screen, things get a little bit more complicated, because even if only the main character is the one moving, I still want to make everyone else look like they're like alive and kind of turning around. And then in this scene in particular, every character is moving towards the door, and I have to completely destroy and rebuild every character, kind of keeping track of where they're moving and where their head's turning, and then moving the actual main character. So a little short scene like this that might be on screen for, 3 seconds? Can take up to about 2 hours of animating just to make everything move in. So it is taking an absolutely ridiculous amount of time. It has even got to a point where I'm starting to think that if I was to start again, I may do it a little bit differently, only because I can see just how long this video is going to take and how long it's took already. And I kind of think how many other normal videos I could have made in this time, like how many other Stampy shorts I could have made in this time. And I start to think, is it worth it? And is it not? But then again, I think that, it is worth it, because there's probably not a huge amount of YouTubers out there that would make a video like this and spend this amount of time on it. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that I'm doing it now that I'm deep in the middle of it. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a behind the scenes of how I'm doing this. You can see basically my character flying around and basically destroying and rebuilding them. I'm kind of getting better as I go. At first, I was kind of just doing it a little bit loose and kind of just random. Now I've got a rhythm where I say, right, I'm going to move my character first, and then I'm going to end on this character. I got a whiteboard to kind of keep track of things. I'm kind of making notes as I go, and after every single shot, I now fly up to the camera just to mark it as that is the end of all of the animating. So when I edit, it's going to make things easier for me a little bit later on. So that's the process for this. But coming up next is the plane section, which I'm sure is going to be much more difficult than some of these scenes that you're seeing on screen now. I've now just got to the plane scene, and if you have seen the that's a lot of scenes. If you have watched the actual video, you'll know that there's, spoiler alert, there's a plane that hopefully this is how it happens, comes down, and my little hero down here builds a runway to just about save it from crashing down into this big pit down there. So I need to make a plane fly without it actually moving, and there's a few different ways I could have done this, and this is kind of what my main idea is for the points where it's flying in the sky. So this is what my plane looks like. I didn't bother doing any behind the scenes of me designing the plane just because, I don't know, it's pretty standard. So the big thing I just want to say about for the plane is I built it very simple, and I could have made it look better, but I had to keep it within the color scheme of basically gray, black and white. So that's why I use those materials. And also, I know I'm going to be rebuilding this plane a lot. So I want to make it very simple, just to basically make it so that I'm not building a crazy, complicated giant plane every time I want to build it. And it kind of fits in with the style and simplicity of the entire video. So yeah, that's the plane. But anyway, what I want to talk about is this. You may be wondering what this big gold thing is here. So it won't actually be seen, but this is going to be my method for showing the plane flying when it's up in the sky, because I don't want to make it look too smooth. Because what I could do is look at the plane. I could have cut it out in Photoshop, or, there's a few different ways I could have done it. But to save me having to rebuild the plane so many times, I'm basically gonna stand inside of like this frame like this, and I can move up like that. And if I look at the plane, it's almost gonna look like the plane is flying down. So see if I can kind of fly up like that, and then like that, and then there we go, you can see the plane. And if I just go one at a time and then like really like stick myself into the corner of each one, then that means that the plane is essentially moving diagonally one block down to the right, simply because I'm moving up. And then that means it's going to be moving kind of at the same frequency as everything else. And it kind of, that means the plane movement will fit into everything else that I've done. Obviously, if I stayed still and rebuilt the plane every single time, that would have the same effect. But hopefully it's going to look okay. So the only worry is that you can see, obviously, the ground as well, and you can kind of notice that I'm going up. I'm hoping that I'm high enough above the ground and, like, you're focusing on the plane, that it won't be too obvious that that's what's actually happening. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to do the scene a couple times. So I'm going to do one scene like this with the ground, just because I really want to see the ground, just because it looks awesome. Just seeing the house in the background and seeing all of this, it just looks good. If it doesn't look good enough, though, if I just fly up higher in the sky and get to a point like this where you can only see the sky, I can do the same thing again. And then because there's no reference point in the distance, then that means that the plane will look like it's flying down, just because it won't look any different, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't know, but anyway, that's that's kind of the idea for the plane. When we actually get closer to the ground and the plane's landing and stuff, there's really not much I can do apart from physically rebuilding that plane again and again and again, which won't necessarily be difficult. It's just going to take a huge amount of time, but that is something that I'm prepared to do to make this scene look cool. So yeah, there's a little behind the scenes on how I made the plane fly, or well, how I made the plane fall, I guess. So I just finished doing the plane scene. I've just finished recording it. This is the plane. You see, I added a bunch of cobwebs to make it look like smoke flying out. But sadly, the thing I was hoping wouldn't happen happened, and basically it just looked like I was flying up rather than the plane was flying down, which was mainly because of the background. It also was a little bit jarring. Like, even though the whole video's jerky, like when the characters are moving around, they're kind of jerking about. When the whole camera was moving, it was a little bit weird, and I don't want any smooth movement. I want it all to be jerky, so it's all in the same style. So it didn't really work. So I recorded the entire thing. I realized it's not going to work, so I'm going to record the entire thing again, but this time from all of the way up here, which means I can kind of get an angle like this where you can't really see any of the ground, which is hopefully going to get rid of the two issues I had, looking like you're going up, and the jerkiness shouldn't matter so much, because all you're going to see is the background. Like you can see, once you get to a certain height, like I'm flying directly up right now, but you wouldn't know. Like the background stays the same. That's just kind of the way the skybox works, so that should hopefully work in my favor. So I'm going to have another go. I'm going to make it so the cobwebs move faster for the smoke, because I think it looked a little bit too slow. But I just wanted to show you, since this is the behind the scenes, I just wanted to show you what it looked like. So this is what attempt 1 looked like. So you can probably see what I mean by it looks like the camera's flying up, the cobwebs aren't fast enough and stuff. But yeah, just so this footage that I spent the last 40 minutes filming isn't wasted, I thought I'd show it to you here a few times. So all right then, I'm going to get to work filming the entire scene again, and fingers crossed it's going to look okay, because if not, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Okay, so I thought I'd show you a little bit of the editing. You can see here I'm using Adobe Premiere. I'm not going to go too in-depth as a general editing tutorial. I kind of just want to talk about how I'm organizing the clips and kind of how I'm editing them at the very beginning. So at the moment, I'm not really properly editing. I'm kind of more organizing the footage right now. So the way I did it when I recorded every shot as just one long video, and then I just labeled them shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, shot 4, just to kind of keep things nice and simple for me like this. I could have not done it like that. I could have just done it with a bunch of separate pictures, because that's essentially all it is. It's basically a bunch of pictures anyway. The reason I did a video instead was basically just to make it easy for myself. It means that I wouldn't need to keep pressing to take another picture every few seconds. It also means that I don't need to organize thousands of pictures and label them all and worry about losing them or them getting in the wrong order. If I just have one long video like this, it just makes it much easier for me, and it also means I can kind of see exactly what was going on, and I can kind of look back at the video to keep track of what just happened. So yeah, it just made it a bit easier. But if you are doing this yourself, you could just take screenshots just to basically save yourself some hard drive space. So yeah, I got all of these shots down here, and then I just drag them into the timeline down here, and basically, I can kind of play through the video like this. And the way I'm making it kind of appear animated is by basically just going through, cutting out all of the bits where you can see me flying around and rebuilding things, and then placing them down here. And then the shorter I have the pictures in terms of their length, the faster the action's going to move. So you can see here as I'm sprinting, I'm going to be going pretty fast. But then if I find a little bit later on where whatever I'm doing here. So this is me turning my head. You can see that the pictures stay on screen much longer, because otherwise I'll be spinning my head like crazy there. So yeah, that's the general concept of it. You can see the speeds of the clips kind of continually change through here. I don't know if you can see that okay. So yeah, let me show you the way I'm doing this. So I've got my giant clip, which I've just dragged into here, and this is a point where I'm going to be sprinting very quickly. This is me rushing to build the runway to make the plane land okay. So basically, what I do is I see that my little character's down here. I want him to move one step forward. So I'm just going to scroll across. I'm going to see me fly down and rebuild myself. I'm going to go here and I kind of move the heads of some of the characters just to make everyone look alive and like they're watching. And then after every single section I film, I always fly straight into the camera, basically to let myself know in editing that I'm done. And then in this, I'm going to be scrolling across 4 little bits, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can go and cut this here and drag this across there like that. So there we go. That's what I need to do. And then I'll need to scroll across again. I'm going to rebuild that. You'll see me going over here rebuilding these. I'm going to fly towards the camera. And then I can do the exact same thing again. Go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just using the arrow keys just to go 1 frame at a time. Then I can go and drag that in there like that. Then let's do that one more time and I can kind of play it back and you'll see how it's going to be. So I basically just need to cut out any of the points where you can see the character flying around, and also just to make it so that the pictures are quick enough that it actually looks like I'm moving. So let's do the same again. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. I can go and cut this out and drag it across. Then I can just play back what I've done and show you show you what that looks like. So you'll see I go boom, 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 boom. There we go. That's what the job entails. So it's very repetitive. It's very boring. Probably even more boring than when I was building it to actually record the thing. But it's got to be done. But this isn't really me editing. This is basically me preparing the clips, because once I kind of have all of the footage that I need prepared in this way, then I can watch it back and I can worry about the pacing. I can bring the music in and the sound effects and, really get to editing properly. This is literally kind of just making what I've recorded and turn it into actual video clips. Like, this is an extra step I wouldn't normally need to worry about when editing. But yeah, I'm getting through it. I'm on to shot number 71. I think I did about 108 shots, I think. So I'm getting there. So I'll check back in with you a little bit later on once these are all organized and I'm actually editing properly. Okay, so I'm still editing right now. I've done a lot more progress than I had the last time. Like, last time I was literally just preparing the footage. I've now done some actual real editing. So it wasn't that much different to editing a normal video. Like, if anything, it gave me more freedom, because like when I'm trying to match up the visuals to the music and kind of change the pace of things, I can kind of just change it frame by frame, which if you're using like real footage or even normal Minecraft footage, you can't do without it making it look all jumpy. But that's kind of the whole point for this film, is that it looks all jumpy, so it's okay. So I'm not 100% done yet. I still need to do a little bit more fine tuning. There's a few more shots I need to record. So let's kind of talk through it a little bit. So I came up with the title sequence. I like the idea of having every letter a different color. It just really fit the film. I think I'm going to brighten it up. At the moment, it's quite dark. I literally took screenshots of the different colored wall to make this colored text. I think I'm going to brighten it up a little bit though, because it looks a little bit dull, but that's kind of the way that works. And then the music. The big thing is the music. I really went for bright, happy music. It's kind of a bit folky. There's a lot of ukulele sounds in there as well. And it's actually a lot of different songs all merged together. So like this one is one song and then it cuts to a separate song and then cuts to a later point in the same song, just to kind of change the mood at different points in the film and also add some variety. So it's quite a lot of different music. It's all just kind of royalty-free music got from a bunch of different websites. I got the sound effect of a bell playing as well, just for this section. I just now, and this could still change, I don't think it will though, I just now decided to not have any voices. So I did record voices for some of the characters, but not them actually speaking, but more noises. So for example, when this grumpy man sees you go past, leaving the color, he kind of goes like, no, and that was the idea. I actually recorded myself doing that and was playing around with different effects, but when I put it in, it just sounded weird. I don't think it needed it. Hopefully I can get across the story without it, and it just seemed a little bit out of place. So I'm going to go and try and do it without it. But I am just adding in a few sound effects. So there's the bell, then the sounds of all of the planes flying down, which is once again loads of different sound effects all kind of mixed together just to make sure it sounds right and as if the plane's kind of getting closer. I also added in a subtitle here. When this is the teacher coming out saying the plane is about to crash. And originally I wasn't going to have this. I kind of hoped that if they kind of came out and screamed, that would make get the point across. But seeing as they're now not making any noise, I think I need that text just to make it clear that that is what's going on. So that's all of that. The bits I need to reshoot is this section here. So when he's going home, I wanted it to be gradually getting darker. And at first, I was just going to do it each shot gets a bit darker. But then I changed my mind to actually be able to see the sun. And it means that these shots here are a little bit too dark. And I tried brightening them up and kind of matching up the color correction and stuff. But it just didn't look right. So I think it's easier just going to be to refilm those 2 shots. And they're not too difficult. So yeah, there's 2 shots I'm going to have to refilm and add them in. I did the part of it gradually getting darker. And then I had it fading out. The way I made it fade to black, even though they're all separate shots, is I just got like a black picture. So this is literally a picture of just pure black. And then I just fade it in, which basically makes it look like it's fading out. So that's the way I did that. I also brightened up a lot of it. I put the saturation way up, making all of these colors really, really bright, which just makes the colorfulness stand out a lot more compared to the black and white. And I think that just really makes the film a little bit better and kind of looks nicer and just really stands out how colorful he is. Then what have we got going on down here? Oh, yeah, that's just the titles. Yeah, there's a few problems with the plane. Like, there's some scenes where it kind of jerks. Like, I think this is one of them here, where you can see that the camera kind of jolts a little bit. And it does that a few times, and I hoped I was going to be able to fix that in editing, but I can't really, because it's not just the camera getting zoomed in or zoomed out, it's the actual perspective that changes, and there's no real way for me to change that apart from refilming it again, and there's no way I'm doing that, seeing as I've spent so many hours doing it already. Yeah, you can kind of see there's a bit of a jolt, and the reason it did that is because I basically lagged out of the game, and I had to load the game back up. And even though you're supposed to be in the exact same place, for some reason, you don't stay exactly where you are. You kind of move slightly. And so, there's nothing I could do about that. And also you can see the shadows kind of glitch, and that's just Minecraft being a bit glitchy, There's nothing I can do about that. Something else that I did, which you might find quite funny, is so a few little fixes. So you can see that there's a few places where I made a mistake. So for example, here, you can see that this person has 3 arms for some reason. I accidentally forgot to break away one of the levers, so he had 3 arms. So I basically just edited in Photoshop and kind of colored in his back and kind of took a screenshot and blended it together to make that better. And there's a few instances of that as well. I think this is another one there where he had 3 arms. And then there's one as well where I just forgot to get out of the way. And so I think is it down here? Maybe. Oh no, it's a little bit further on. I forgot how long the film is. It ended up way longer than I thought. Oh, where is it? There's another section where I really want to find it now. I should be able to track it down because I'll be able to see the edit. Is it here? I'm not sure where it is, but believe me, there's another bit where I just forgot to get out of the way, and you could just see like a random crocodile just standing there for one shot. Oh, here we go, I found it. So let me just zoom in so I can see it. So yeah, it was like this. So there was just a crocodile standing there. So I just had to edit him out. Yeah, that wouldn't look really weird there. And then yeah, the final thing that I had to add in is this kind of long ending sequence here, and then the text at the end. And I went back and forth a lot of times about whether I wanted to include this because, the film is about being different, but I generally like to leave it a little bit more up to people's interpretation, so I wasn't sure whether I wanted to include it. But in the end, I thought that, there's a lot of people that would just watch this and just see it, for the story, but not think about what the theme was or think any more about it. And hopefully having this text at the end means that those people who might not have realized what the film is actually about, are then going to think about it. And even though the people that would have realized that anyway might think, oh, this is a bit obvious, or, you're not being very subtle, Stampy, I think that letting everyone kind of enjoy it to that next level is worth it. So I don't know. That's why I added the text. And who knows, maybe I'm going to cut it out again. I literally changed my mind so many times, but at the moment, that's how it's going to be. So yeah, it's almost done. I've got to refilm those bits, and I'm sure I'm going to go back and, shift a few things around and, play with the audio a little bit more and stuff. But apart from that, the film is pretty much ready to be uploaded. So that's going to be the next thing I need to do. But I guess that is pretty much going to be the end of this behind the scenes here. So what I'm thinking of doing is doing another video where I just put all of the footage that I recorded just in one massive row and then speed it up so you can literally watch through all of the building and rebuilding and animating that I did throughout. So it's going to be super sped up. But if you are interested to see that, I will leave that as a link down in the description below, so you can go and check that out there, and also the actual video, just in case you've got to this point and you haven't even seen the video yet. And if that is the case, that is a weird way to watch these. But anyway, that is the end of this behind the scenes video here. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and there'll be plenty more Stampy shorts and behind the scenes videos coming up in the future. So for now, I'll see you later. Bye!